Welcome to another edition of Screencast-O-Matic 2020 Corona Edition. Okie dokie. I am Mr. Runyan, your gracious host. This is going to be a good time. We're going to finish doing number 3. Yes, we're going to have fun. We've wasted 30 seconds already. Right now, let's get to it. Number 1, Eric has to get a marker first. Jeez Louise, Eric. Come on, Eric. Eric's not letting me get a marker. Thank you, Eric. Eric has 14.5 yards of fabric. He makes several napkins using 1/2 yard of fabric for each. He then takes 6 placemats using 7/8 yard of fabric for each. Eric has 1/2 yard of fabric left. How many napkins has he made? Well, let's look at it and think about it. It's a very hard question because it says he makes several napkins. Okay. Do we know how many napkins he made? No, it just says several. My mom, she made sure to point out the other day that several can mean lots of different things. Sorry, I'm moving this so I can grab a new color. So it's like, okay, Mom, thanks. Several, I think, was basically just more than 3. So it could be 4, it could be 5, could be 6, could be 7, could be 8. Several just means more than 3. Didn't know that. I thought it had to at least be 7. Because it says 7 in it. But whatever. That's what moms are for. Eric has 14.5 yards of fabric. He makes several napkins using 1/2 yard of fabric each. Well, we know whatever it is, when we get to the napkins, it's going to be using 1/2 yards. So let's figure out the rest first. So then he says he then makes 6 placemats using 7/8 yard of fabric for each. Well, that's easy. It sounds like we're using 7/8 plus 7/8 plus 7/8 plus 7/8 plus 7/8 plus, I think, one more 7/8. I didn't actually add in my head. But that is basically as easy as doing hourglass. Ugh, I wish I could fix this, but you can't figure it out. Repeated additions, nothing else in multiplication. And remember, this is really 6/1. Because we don't go around saying, hey, can I have 6 ones? So 6 times 7 is 42, or 40C, or 40C. Well, let's make it really obnoxious too. Over 8. And don't forget, I could always simplify this way if you are more advanced than myself. How many times does 8 go into 42? Well, I know there is 5. Right? 8 times 5 is 40. There's 2 left. And, ooh, that 2 worked perfectly. And you get 2 over 8. So then that still gives me this 8. And then it says Eric has 1/4 yard of fabric left. So I think if we can subtract an extra 5 or 1/4. So first off, this is what he used. And he has a 1/4 yard of fabric left. How many napkins has he made? So this part, this is what he's used here. So I think we could also then subtract another part from that as well. Happy Halloween. So what we need to do now is, wish I could get an eraser, just erase that stuff real quick. We need to take this. This is what we have from the placemats. And we need to subtract it from 14.5, because that's the total. I'm going to copy this one. Ha ha ha. Oh no, it won't let me. There we go. And we're going to take that from there. So watch this. Oh, I'm live again. My bad. Okay, so well, we had 14.5. I think I might have made a mistake on something over here. Subtract 5 and 2/8. In order to subtract those, we need to make them the same. Come on, get with it. So this one's the easy one, right? 8s. So 14 minus 5 is 9. 4 minus 2 is 2. I'm just going to leave the hourglass. And 8 minus 8, you don't do it. You leave it the same. So now we have our answer of 9 and 2/8. Watch it still change it. Yep. I wonder if I can move you this way. Nope. Oh well. It's hourglass and 2/8. Come on. And Eric has a fourth of your fabric left. Well, we're trying to figure out what he had for the napkin. So in order to do that, we also need to take away that fourth. With a fourth, you could do this two different ways. We could take this and turn it into eighths, or we could turn this into a fourth, because 2/8 minus a fourth, well, it is a fourth. So if we made these the same, 4 times 2 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2. So then I just know that when I take another fourth away, I basically just get 9. So, well, then he had these 9 yards left. He has 9 yards left. Okay. He uses a half yard for each of the fabrics. So then we're going to divide that 9 by half. And I hope you understand now that when you divide by half, you're just doubling it. Dividing by half means dividing by 2. So that means our total napkins, 18. I hate math, but it's fun when you get it right. All right, pause the next one and do it. I said pause. Perfect. You should be done. Okay, well, this one's fun. Angela wants to buy a skateboard that costs $45.60, including tax. She decides to save $1.90 each day until she has enough money to buy the skateboard. Find the number of days that passes until Angela saves enough money for the skateboard. How the heck is she getting $1.90 each day? Like, what does she do? She go out and mow, like, one lawn every day? She go rake yards every day? I mean, maybe she's not spending that money at lunch. Who knows? We just have a problem to solve, and that's what matters. So it sounds like I could really probably just like add this repeatedly until I get to 45.60. So we could play the guess and check game. I know that $1.90 is really close to 2. 2 goes into 46 evenly. 26 would be what? Like 18. That'd be 36. 23. So maybe 23 days we could estimate and say. But then there's 10 cents here. I mean, we could guess and check. And doing that mentally, I'm hoping just by listening to me that you're kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's where I struggled as a kid. But if you don't see the repeated addition side of it, obviously there's the repeated subtraction side. So we could just take, wait for it. Whoa, that was crazy. And now I've got a math problem up here with hourglasses. I hate them, but whatever. When I give you your lemon, you'll make a lemonade. So now I have a division problem. Pause this and solve it. If you don't have an answer on your way down me, and you're like, come on, Mr. Runyan, I have stuff to do today. Great. Wish that thing would move. Can't haunt you. That's fine. We'll still use this blood crimson for Halloween. So, hey, what a good idea. Dividing by decimals. We're going to take our decimal, guys, and we're going to move it out 1, 2 times. We're going to get rid of that decimal. And what you do to one side, and you do to the other side. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. There we go. So now it's just a division problem. We have basically done this. You should be able to get this on your own. Using repeated subtraction, don't forget, we could partial product. We could multiply this baby by 10. 10. Whatever. We'll do it that way. We could do times 10. 190 times 10 means that you're just going to take this 0 and expand it. No, 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 no. Thank you. And basically, just do this, right? You add the 0 to the hourglass, which is, how would you even say that? 45 upside down hourglass, D divided by, or subtract 1 hourglassy thousands. I don't know, but that's really 9. And then you just do this until you get to the answer. So pause it. Boom. Okay, here's the work. So I did this the way we did it in PSS. The easier way might have been to just eliminate the zeros, delete, right? And then you've got 45, 6, 456. I can get rid of this one too. Divided by 19. 19 goes into 45 twice, etc., and you can do it that way. The way that I did it, I just did it like we did it MTSS. 190 times 10 was 1900. And then I had enough to do another one down here. So I multiplied another 10. I got another 1900. I had 700 left. 190 goes into 700 3 times. I get 5, 7. I did 4 originally, and that's my answer actually, but not. I'll get there. So you subtract 570 from 700. I'm left with 130. So that's a remainder. That's not enough to have another whole, because remember, my whole is 19. Whatever it is, though, it is enough because I need to save that money. So Angela needs to save another $1.90. Right now she's $1.30 short. That's just one extra day. So if my answer is 10 plus 10 plus 3, which is 23, I have a remainder of $1.30, right? I don't have enough money. So Angela needs to save for one more day. Okay, that's the kicker. So if you didn't get 24, it's because you didn't have the right answer, because you had a remainder. How much money does she have? You can't have remaining money when you're wanting money. You can't go to the bank or the store and say, I almost have all of the money. I am $1.30 short. They're gonna be like, I'm sorry. You need to go get me more money. All right. So let's look at the next one. Watch this. See, there's my 4, 760. That was my guess. Actually, I knew the answer. I just wanted to show you. Okay, so do the next one. So Angela finds that she can buy the skateboard online for $6 less. So basically, she's going to spend less days saving. So I'm not going to do the work on that one. It's the same thing. Basically, you just subtract 6 from 45 and do the same exact work. And I'll give you the answer here in 3 seconds. Okay, so, wow, that had a beautiful line, and now it's not. If you read this right, remember, she saves the same number of days. So she up here, she saved for 24 was our answer. So she's going to save that many days again, but she'll need less money, right? So you're going to take the total that she needs $39.60, divide it by the same number of days, which is 24. And you do that, and your answer ends up being $1.65. So 1 point, I guarantee it's an hourglass, 65. That wasn't even looking like a 0. Oh, wait, apples. All right. So I've already kind of done the next one. So the gauge on a gas tank showed that the tank is 3/4 full. After traveling some distance, the gauge showed that the tank is 1/8 full. The tank was then filled to its full capacity by adding 16 8/10 gallons of gasoline. How many gallons of gasoline were in the tank when it was 3/4 full? This is a really hard one to think about. But please, this is when Greg Tang would tell you, just draw what you know. Read it, write it, draw it. So we know that a tank is full when it's 8/8, right? We can compare that with 3/4 pretty easy. We can compare that with 1/8 full, and the answer that we need is 3/4. So all three of those pretty easily can go into 8s, and it makes sense because we only had 1/8 left, and then we put 7/8 worth of gasoline in, and got 16.8. So basically, we need to figure out what each of these is. What did we fill it with? Boo. So then we just hypothetically, okay, this is why it really helps to draw. If we draw it, we have this one's taken right here. We know what that is, right? That's 1/8. So we know that this is 7. And this is how I want you to start thinking. Okay, this is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? This is 16.8. And it's being divided by 7. Okay? You're going to share that between 7 squares. That then tells you how much is in each one. 7 goes into 16 twice. Or weird C. 2 7s is 14. Can't move all my shapes at once, can I? I'm gonna do my work over here. Is 14, or hourglass. Oy vey, Apple products, please change that. And then 16 minus, right here, 16 minus 14 is, wrong line, dude. Like, come on. And then you're gonna bring down your 8. So we're gonna bring down our 8, put it over here. 7 goes into 28 4 times. That's perfect. So our answer is 24. However, we move our decimal out once. So we move our decimal in once. So we know that each one of these is 2.4. Perfect. If you know one, you can find them all. If you know one, I almost said an 11. You can find 2. You can find 5. You can find 8. Or we need 3/4. What is 3/4 when compared to 8? Well, think of it as an 8. How do you get to 8? You multiply it by 2. So we need 2. Well, you do the bottom, you do the top. Let me move it this way so I don't confuse you. Yeah, 6. I'm going to color it in so it doesn't change it. 6. So if we need 6 of them, if you know one, can you find 6? Yes. Just multiply 2.4 times 6. Try to do that in your head. Pause it and go. Okay, I quickly did it. So 6 times 20 is how I did it in my head. It is 120. And then 6 times 4 is 24. So then I got 144. Don't forget there's a decimal. So what you bring out, you'll have to bring in. So our answer is 14.4 gallons. Don't forget to have that unit on there from now on. The book had it doing some weird way of multiplying it by 8 and then finding 3/4 of the whole. But again, if you know one, you can find 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 by repeated addition. Repeated addition is nothing more than multiplication. A store sells 2 sizes of mugs, a small mug that sells for $3.50 and a large mug that sells for $6.80. A customer buys mugs and pays $69. And how many mugs of each size does this customer buy? You can skip this one. It's ridiculous. It is doable, but you're going to spend a lot of time on it. So skip 4 and then go to number 5. Kyle spends an equal amount of money each day. After 4 days, he had 4/5 of his money left. After another 10 days, he had $30 left. How much money did Kyle begin with? Okay, this is another fun one that you have to draw. Because if you don't draw, you're going to get confused and you're going to quit. And you're going to scream and cry and not do math anymore. Just draw the pictures. And it makes so much more sense. So after 4 days, he had 4/5 of his money left. After 4 days. So here's 4 days. And then he had 4/5 left. So that means the 4 is part of the 1/5. And that 1/5 is being divided into how many days? 1/5 equals how many days? Well, you got to divide it by 4. And divide by a fraction. Here's a tip. Keep, change, flip. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 4 is 20. 1 day equals 1/20th. 1 day. Again, if you can find 1, you can find 10. So 10 days, right? So 10 days times 1/20th, because 1/20th is what we know equals 1 day. We figured that out over here, because if you can find 1, you can find them all. Okay, well, 10 times 1 is 10. This is really 10 over 1. 1 times 20 is 20. And we can divide this by 10, simplify. So that's basically half of his money. So after 10 days, he had half. We need to add that then. 1/2. Oops, wrong number-ish. Half. Add a fifth. The reason why we're going to add the fifth is because we're adding the 10 days with the original 4 days, if that makes sense. So we can't do this. We have to make the bottoms the same. So 2 can't go into 5, but it could go into 10. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So this would also be a 10. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So you end up with 5/10. Add 2/10, which equals 7/10. So 7/10 is how much money he had, right? Ugh. So let's just keep on going. Wow, I don't know what happened there, but that was crazy. So 7/10 is what he spent, right? And it says he had $30 left. Well, what do we have left? We have 3/10. Okay, so what do you have? Alternate universe here. Let's get back to where we were, okay? We have 3/10, right? Equals 30. If 3/10 equals 30, can you figure out what 1/10 equals? Then we can just simplify and say that 1/10 equals 10. Okay? So how much did he begin with? Well, if 1/10 is 10, what's 10/10? Would be 100. What a really hard roundabout way to get to that answer. What a crazy man. So now you've just got 6, 7, 8. You can skip 9, so you don't need to go any farther than 8. You do have 3 problems I'd like you to get on your own. I will put the answers on, so